I'd like to say good morning to everyone and to welcome you to CFNC's Part 2 series, Making Campus Connections for Young Black and African American Males. We are so excited to have you join us today for a wealth of information from experts across the state, providing you with a, a plethora of resources available right on your campuses and places, people that you can definitely network with to find out more information about the careers that you're planning on pursuing in your future. I would like to give you a little bit of information prior to us beginning this morning. I am Soretta Broadway, Senior Regional Representative for the 919 area code. We have 9 regional reps that cover the state of North Carolina, making sure that we provide information on the various resources available at CFNC. Wanted to give you a little bit of background information regarding the partnership of CFNC. I'm pretty sure you've heard that tagline, CFNC, College Foundation of North Carolina, across the state for a number of years, but it is made up of 6 different partners. The North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority, College Foundation Incorporated, our 36 independent colleges and universities, our 58 North Carolina community colleges, and our 16 UNC campuses. We all decided to come under one umbrella and provide everything that you want to know about planning, applying, paying, and saving for college. So we hope that after this segment today, you will be encouraged, you will be motivated to visit our website, create a CFNC username and password so you can have total access to all of our free, did I say free? Free resources that we make available to residents across the state of North Carolina. Now I'm going to turn this hot mic over to my colleague, Ms. Brittany Privet, who is going to introduce our panelists for today. I will say this, call a friend, text a friend, and tell them, jump on the line this morning. There's some great information we're going to receive from some experts from various colleges and universities and someone from the student body. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Broadway. Again, my name is Brittany Privet. I am a regional representative with the College Foundation of North Carolina, coming to you from Wilmington, North Carolina. And I just want to have our panel introduce ourselves. But before we get there, today we're going to be focusing on making campus connections. College is all about utilizing your resources. I think there's a common misconception that you go to class every day, you learn, and then you go home. But that is not the case. You pay for a lot of amazing resources so that you can get a holistic experience while you're in college. So we have 3 amazing and dynamic speakers on our panel today to talk to you a little bit about the importance of making these campus connections and finding your way. Whether you're a student at an HBCU or at a predominantly white institution, we want to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into when it comes to the collegiate experience. So they're going to talk a little bit about what their roles are on campus and how to utilize your resources to maximize your success while you're in college. So I'm going to have our awesome panelists introduce themselves. We're going to ask some questions, but if you have any questions for the panel, feel free to put those in the chat and I'll be happy to relay those to the panelists as we move through this program. First, we have Mr. Williams from North Carolina Central. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I am Kent Williams from North Carolina Central University, where I have the great honor of serving as our Assistant Director for Career and Professional Development. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for being here. Up next, we have Mr. Lucas from North Carolina State.
Good morning, everybody. I am Isaiah Lucas. I use he, series pronouns, and I serve as the program coordinator for the African American Culture Center at North Carolina State University.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Lucas. And last but not least, we have student representation today with Mr. Stanfield.
Good morning. I am Derek Stanfield, a senior history and political science student at North Carolina Central, and I also serve as our student body president for this academic year.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. President, for joining us this morning. I want to kick off the conversation by asking, what do you think, excuse me. Again, today is about making campus connections. So we're going to start this conversation off. And Mr. Stanfield, you can talk about your current situation because you are a current student, but I would love for Mr. Williams and Mr. Lucas to think back to their undergraduate years and let us know what you think your most meaningful campus connection was while you were an undergraduate student at your respective institutions, and how has that connection helped you in your current career? We'll start with Mr. Williams.
Sure. I would say my most meaningful connection was my RA in my residence hall. As a first generation college student who had no clue what he was about to get himself into, I had an RA who kept bothering me. And what I mean by this, kept saying, I really see something in you. I really see your potential. And I really think you really need to, think about getting involved. And I would ignore him and like, okay, whatever. But he just kept being persistent. And I got to a point to where, you know what, I'm tired of not being involved on campus. I'm tired of not having a true college experience. I need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so I went to my RA and told him I'm ready to get involved. He took me to an SJ meeting and everyone was nice. I thought they just being nice because they got to be nice. It's SJ, they're student leaders. They have to be nice. But as the weeks went on, they would, hey, come with us to the CAF, come with us to this program. And it started feeling good being known on campus and a little bit recognized on campus. And from there, I went from doing absolutely nothing to getting involved, joining Student Government Association, joining that fraternity, ended up being student body president my senior year. And none of that would not have happened if I would not have had that RA that saw my potential and approached me and said, you know what, I see something in you. And he didn't give up on me. An RA is a resident advisor. So if you're in college or you think about going to college, you'll have a resident advisor. That's a student who would serve as like the hall monitor on whatever hall that you stay in. And so if it wasn't for that RA, I wouldn't be where I am today as far as my career.
And I love that you said that because leadership can come in different forms on campus. So I think we all associate leadership with Student Government Association, and those are the people who are voted to be our leaders on campus. But you also have resident advisors, which is another leadership role for a smaller population that really can hone in on those relationships like your RA did, Mr. Williams, and lead you into some opportunities that you didn't know existed on campus as a first generation student. Thank you so much for outlining that for us. That was fantastic. Mr. Lucas, do you want to talk a little bit about your most meaningful connection while you were on campus as an undergraduate student?
Yeah, I sure will. And I think myself, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Stanfield, we have something in common because I was also SGA president in my undergrad institution for 2 years. And I had a very unique college transition because I went to a community college for 2 years. And it was a small college, less than 1,000 students. It was a residential college. So it was something cool, but it was still a very small campus. And I remember transferring to Old Dominion, which is one of the largest schools in Virginia, feeling like a little fish in a big pond, and not knowing who my people were going to be, not knowing how I was going to make connections, not knowing how was I going to make friends. And it was a mentor of mine who told me something that stuck with me for the rest of my life. And it's, if you want something, you got to go get it. Don't wait for things to be handed to you. Don't wait for doors to be open for you. If you don't have a seat at the table, bring a chair and a table with you. So that kind of stuck in my mind. So when I got to Old Dominion, I was like, I cannot wait for people to do things for me or people to open doors for me. So I remember going to the first SGA meeting as a transfer student. Everybody's looking at like, who is this guy sitting in the back? We don't know him. And I remember making those connections, meeting people, going to different events, going to different programs, and using all of those things to really build my community on campus. And that's where I unlocked my passion to advocate for people. And for a long time, I thought I wanted to be like a president or a mayor. But then I really realized my passion was advocating for college students. So it was through working in SGA, meeting people, running for elected office, and being in that space that I learned that my why is to advocate for college students. And I get to do that every day at North Carolina State University, advocating for people who look like me, who come from different backgrounds as me, who come from similar backgrounds as me. And just advocating for Black folks is my passion. And I was able to unlock that through putting myself out there, through not waiting for somebody to open the door for me, through being uncomfortable, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and realizing that there is no growth in comfort. Using all of those things in my college experience to me really created a framework for where I am in life today.
Thank you for that. I think you just embodied the importance of this webinar today, is making those campus connections and using those later on to inform the work that you do and whatever career you decide. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And building a sense of community within a community is extremely important, regardless of where you attend school. I love that you worked at one of the largest schools in Virginia, or went to one of the largest schools in Virginia, and now you work at the largest institution in North Carolina. think a lot of students can feel a little lost at our larger institutions, especially coming from smaller campuses or coming from small towns. So we do have a transfer resource planner on CFNC. I did put that link in the chat, but creating community is a huge part of the college process, and it definitely can lead you into a lot of different connections that can help you in your future. So thank you for talking a little bit about your personal experience, Mr. Lucas. Mr. Stanfield, what connections have you made at North Carolina Central to make your experience a fruitful one and have informed some of your goals in the future?
Yes, so for me, I definitely come from a similar background as Mr. Williams, since, we have the same institution, both SGA president, former SGA president. So we've kind of been able to share those experiences. One thing that I'll say as an SGA president that I've had the opportunity to take part in is just the opportunity to be in contact with so many high-level members of the administration for my institution. And a great thing about NCCU is we're a mid-sized school, but definitely small in terms of the community and everyone knowing everyone. You see a lot of these people that are in the offices of the chancellor outside on campus. You could have lunch with them and all those types of things. So for me, I'll say the connections that I've been able to make with, members of our vice chancellors and our chancellor and myself, just be able to have those conversations in terms of advocating for the student body, along with, the connections and experiences that they're able to offer and, put me on to different opportunities in my field.
Fantastic. A word that keeps coming up, I think, right now is community. Each of you have said it in different ways, and I think that's fantastic. And again, the importance of this webinar. When should students start engaging with their campus community to find those resources and get involved? What does that look like, and when should they start that process? I'll let any of y'all jump in on that.
I'll go. I would say as soon as you get on campus, do not waste any time. I like to think life is better connected. And most people that fail in life are people who try to figure it out on their own. So it's really important that you all, as soon as you hit the campus, that you take advantage of every resource that is available to you, because there are so many opportunities. A lot of times students come and think, well, I'm a first year student, I'm a freshman. There's not much for me to do. There's not really opportunities for me to get involved with. There are not really internships out there for me. That is not the case at all. We get paid to help you figure life out. All you have to do is meet us halfway. So as soon as you get on the campus and you get settled in, come to the people that get paid to help you figure life out, and you'll be good.
I think that's a great answer. Starting freshman year. So at large campuses, I know we have a mid-sized campus on the call and a large campus on the call. What does that process look like? How do you start that process as a first year student? Who should you contact? Where should you go on campus to start getting involved and engaging with your campus community?
Yeah, for me, I had a different background because I was transitioning from a community college. So I know some people would say on the first day, but I would say once you know that you're going to XYZ institution, start making those connections even in that summer period when you're getting ready to start in the fall. So I know over the summer, I was Googling all the orgs I knew I wanted to be a part of. So I was Googling ODU NAACP, hitting them up on Instagram, ODU Gospel Choir, hitting those folks up on Instagram and saying, hey, I'm getting ready to start at ODU this fall, or whatever school you're starting this fall. I would love to make some connections. I would love to join your org. They sent me all this information. They added me to group chats. They added me to their Zoom socials and all these things they were doing before I even stepped foot on the campus. So when I stepped foot on the campus, I already had an idea where my community was. I had to just make myself, empower myself to put myself out there even more. But I would say even before you get to the campus, once you know that I'm committed to going to North Carolina Central, I'm committed to going to North Carolina State, whatever institution you choose, social media is your best friend because almost every office, if not every office, almost every office, every student org, they're going to have some type of social media platform, and someone's going to be checking those social media platforms for you to connect and engage. And there you will find your best friends, your mentors, your big brothers, your big sisters, whatever you need, whatever family you need on campus, you will find that. So I would say social media is your best friend. All of these orgs that you're interested in, even if you're interested in club sports, they even have social media platforms where you can reach out and just say, hey, I'm just looking to meet people. They'll give you their numbers. They'll hang out with you. They'll do all those things. That way, when you do step foot on the campus, you already have a framework to build the community.
I would have never have thought to give that piece of advice, Mr. Lucas. That's fantastic. I graduated college 10 years ago, so Instagram came out while I was in college. So I would have never have thought to do that as a college student. So thank you for that piece of advice. I think we all, as campus professionals or higher ed professionals, utilize social media to reach students, but we never think about that being reciprocated and how students can engage with us, especially our incoming students. So thank you for that. Great piece of advice.
And I wanted to piggyback off of that, if I just could. It's very important for students to understand that college is more than a collection of classes. And you have to get involved. You have to be engaged. Employers these days, they don't want to just know what you know. They want to know what you know how to do. And so what you know how to do is what you learn in the classroom. Getting involved, it allows you to put into practice what you're learning. It helps you build that teamwork, that communication, collaboration, the skill sets that are needed no matter what type of industry that you want to go into. And so just remember that college is more than a collection of classes. What you do outside the classroom plays just as important a role as what you do inside the classroom.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And you're paying for it. You're paying for all of these resources. You're not just paying to go to class every day. You're paying to live on campus, eat on campus. You're paying for these connections that you can make because there's some amazing offices that are supporting you through your collegiate experience. So I think that's fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Stanfield, is there anything that you wanted to add when it comes to making those connections on campus and how to kind of get involved? Do you want to talk a little bit about how you started to get involved and when you started to get involved on Central's campus?
Yes, so for me, I came out of the early college program here on NCCU's campus. So I kind of had a good grasp of the classes and how that would look. But I was really interested in, peeking and looking into student involvement and what I can do in that area. One thing that hasn't been said, I guess, is just, the amount of students that are also coming in with your incoming class. So I came in with a class of 2023, and one of the earliest, aspects of the community that I felt was just in a group chat with all the members of our class. And we're talking about the various things that we're looking to do on campus, our different majors and things of that nature. And just being able to build those connections and those bonds with, members of the student body, I was able to, communicate, hey, I'm interested in running for freshman class president. These are the goals that I have, and building from there. And then when you get into campus, you see that there are also people, I might not want to be freshman class president, but I did SGA in high school, so I can help you with this. And, you're able to build those connections with students. So I'll definitely say as early as possible, once you, get that acceptance letter in the mail and you say, this is the school that I'm excited to attend, that's a chance for you to reach out to other people that might on social media have NCCU 23 in their bio or whatever class, you're coming in with, and start reaching out to them. And then once you get on campus, orientation is a great opportunity to just take a glimpse of what each school has to offer and, how they operate in their different offices, and, just go from there of, areas that you're interested in. Like, for me, the Career and Professional Development Center where, Mr. Williams just happens to work was one of the places where, I found myself gravitating to even as a freshman. And, I was able to, just go in there, and the staff is, all friendly and kind, and they're able to just allow you to sit in their office, do work, but, they're also, at the same time, letting you know about different work opportunities and internship opportunities, so that now as a senior, I'm not in a rush to look at what's next after undergrad.
I'd also add too, just to piggyback off what Mr. Williams and Mr. Stanfield said, that research says students who are more involved perform better academically. So yes, college is not all about being in the classroom. And this student experience that we're talking about, it's more than just having fun and meeting people, right? It is, if you do these things, if you stay connected, if you join Greek letter organization, if you join NAACP, SGA, and all of these orgs, it is proven, scientifically proven, that you will perform better academically. So it's a two-edged sword. It's a good two-edged sword. So getting involved will help you in the classroom. It'll help you get that GPA that you need. It will help push you into grad school and terminal degrees and et cetera.
And to piggyback off of that, how it's definitely making connections are important, but sometimes just because you feel connected to certain people or certain organizations doesn't necessarily mean that you have found belonging on your campus and found your people, your crew. Oh, I just lost a whole earring, y'all. But I definitely want to ask, how do you find belonging on campus, whether it's a PWI or an HBCU? How do you find your sense of community? How do you build that on campus? What does that look like as an individual student trying to find that long-term community on campus?
I speak from the PWI lens. One of the things our students express, especially our Black identified students, is I'm coming to this campus, it's 30,000 people, and maybe 500 people look like me. My professors don't look like me. The cafeteria staff doesn't look like me. The offices and the financial aid staff, nobody looks like me. So how do I feel affirmed in my identities? So I would say through a PWI lens, most schools have multicultural offices, Black culture centers, offices of diversity and inclusion. I think those are great places to start building community, especially at North Carolina State. Our African American Culture Center is a place where we affirm our Black students, where we celebrate, we cultivate and educate Blackness and expand Blackness through the campus. So I would say if you're going to a predominantly white institution, any type of multicultural office or diversity office is a great place to start because it's an opportunity to see and affirm that there are people who look like you. There are people who have shared experiences for you. There's a variety of programming, Black History Month, Martin Luther King commemoration, to not only affirm your identity, but to celebrate all that you are and all that you bring to campus. So I would say any type of spaces such as that will give you a great opportunity to build community, and not only to build community among your peers, but it's also scientifically proven when students, especially Black male students, can see themselves in faculty, when they can make connections with a Black professor or a Black director of an office or a Black coordinator in the office. Those connections are unmatched, and they really create an opportunity for mentorship and brotherhood to really happen. And I believe that through mentorship and through brotherhood, you really get to do all the things that you come to that campus to do. I'm a firm believer. I don't want any student to leave the way they came. So I'm always pouring into students. I'm always giving back to students. And you will find a me, you will find a Mr. Williams, you will find a Mr. Stanfield at any campus you go to. But you have to put yourself out there. And I would say in terms of a PWI lens, those multicultural diversity spaces are a great place to look.
And you can find those at a lot of almost every campus. You have those multicultural spaces, whether it is on a PWI campus or a HBCU campus. Even our community colleges have these spaces. We have actually one of the directors of an internship and African American Cultural Center for Cape Fear Community College on the call right now. So they do their due diligence to sit in on webinars like this to learn more so that they can make sure that you have the most fruitful experience on your campus. So just know that there are people out here who are in your corner to make sure that you find that sense of belonging on campus and that sense of connection.
And I would just add one more thing to that. I'm sorry, Ms. Brittany.
No, that's I was about to add.
I would add, he hit it right. Mr. Lucas hit it right on the nail. But the other part to that I would say is, as students, we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And we have to show up. We can only help you as much as you allow us. We can only be there for you as much as you allow us. And so part of finding that sense of belonging is understanding for yourself what type of experience that you want to have and what resources are on campus and what staff and departments are on campus that's going to provide me the opportunity to have that experience. And no matter where you go to college, no matter what university you go to, the resources are there. There are people that want to help you figure this thing called life out. You just have to show up. All you have to do is say, this is the experience that I want. This is the type of like-minded people that I want to be around, and we will help you figure that out. We will find that for you. It just takes you making that decision, stepping up and showing up and letting us help you the rest of the path.
Absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily always mean that somebody has to look like you, but you do have to see something in them that you identify with or that you want to be. So start seeking out those connections of people that you can see yourself in, or you can see your future self or what you want to be in on campus, and make those connections. You're in charge of your future once you get to college. You have a lot of people here to support you in that, but you have to do the work to seek those opportunities out. And there'll be people there to help you every step of the way. Mr. Stanfield, is there anything you want to add to that before we move on to our next question?
I really think they hit the hammer on the nail. A lot of what they were saying, I definitely agree with.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, our next question, and this is something I find very important, especially for our students who are seeking opportunities on campus, but may have learning differences, may have intellectual differences. How do we make sure that we're finding resources regarding accessibility on campus and finding people who can advocate for you and help you advocate for yourself when it comes to maybe any accessibility issues that students may be experiencing?
I can take the lead on this one. One thing that I've realized here at NCCU that I kind of didn't understand coming in was just the amount of students in our population that are in need of student accessibility services. Our office here has done great with just marketing and putting everything out there in a way that it's almost impossible for students to not know the resources that are available. And I think that's very big, just administration, the university meeting students halfway so that they're able to reach them and, be available with those services. And then also just our professors are definitely understanding of, the individual needs of our student body. So they work to, accommodate to the best of their ability, with those services.
Yeah, and I would say it goes to understanding that one, you are a scholar and we all learn differently, right? And accessibility doesn't mean you just have a physical disability. It could be psychological, it could be physical, it could be learning, it could be a medical. It's so many definitions that fall under that. But the fact is one, you got to pay attention when you show up to orientation. When you are in the workshops that are boring, they're telling you about all the resources that are available to you. You have to pay attention and learn, okay, what departments are going to help me be successful. One thing that we do know about college is that you are here to excel in the classroom because that GPA is going to determine a lot of things, ways how you get involved on campus, organizations you're able to join, internship opportunities. That GPA makes the world of a difference. And so no matter where you go, there is an office or department that is capable of helping you create the best classroom experience possible, and not just in the classroom, outside of the classroom. So part of it is just making sure that you're choosing to take advantage of the resources, showing up, saying what is going on as far as what you need to help you be successful on your college campus, and letting us help you and you taking advantage of those resources.
Yeah, I'd also add, I struggle with ADHD and I've struggled with it all my life. And when I came to college, I really grappled with toxic masculinity, right? I really felt like if I wouldn't ask this office for help, am I going to be labeled? Am I going to be stereotyped? Am I going to be looked at as an outsider because I learned differently from everybody? So I struggle with that. And a lot of that was rooted in toxic masculinity. Am I less than a man if I ask this office for help? Am I less than a man if I have to go to this office and get the extra assistance, if I have to go to tutoring? And I had to end all of that in my head. And all of that was really rooted in fear. But one thing I learned from a mentor of mine, is one of my bigger brothers, is college ain't for no punks. So if you think that you going to the office is going to label you or stereotype you, you got to get rid of that mindset, because this is literally your college experiences. This is your time to create an experience that really puts you on this playing field to achieve all the dreams that you have imagined. So it took that one conversation for me to, you know what, I need help. Even down to statistics, I am struggling. It really took me naming that to get the help that I need. So if you want help, you have to name what you need. You have to name your growth edges. You have to name where your gaps are in order for people on the college campus to fill those. So I remember going to tutor and saying, hey, I understand what statistics is about, but when it comes to these word problems, the math just ain't mathing for me. I need help. It was me naming that. People knew exactly what I needed. If I just go and show up in the office and say, I'm here for tutoring, so are 1,000 other students here for tutoring. What do you need? What are your needs? So one thing I want to inspire my brothers on the call to do is don't let toxic masculinity plague your college experience. Name what you want, be confident about what you need, and ask for help. It's because when you do those things, you get the help that you need and you get back on the right track to succeed.
It just goes back to, it's like you have to think about it. Your future can be better than your present, and you have the power to make it so. You have the power. You are in control. The amazing thing is life has a funny way of leading you to exactly where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So if you end up at NCCU, if you end up at NC State, wherever college university you end up at, life led you there because life knew there were going to be people at that university that can specifically help you with whatever you need to be successful in this thing called life. You have the power to decide, you know what, I know what future I want to have, and I'm going to let these people that get paid help me figure it out.
So in saying that, y'all led me right into my next question. There are so many resources on college campuses. There are so many connections to be made. And I think mentorship is a huge part of the college experience, finding your person on campus that can lead you into those connections, that can kind of guide you through that and help break down that toxic masculinity or those insecurities that we may have, and really empower us to go the direction that life is taking us with an open mind and an open heart. So how do we find that mentor? How do we know when we found our mentor? How do we ask somebody to become our mentor? Two of my mentors are actually on this call right now, and I don't know if they know it or not, but in my mind, they're my mentors. So how do we make those connections as intentionally as possible? And how do we find our person on campus, our cheerleader on campus, to kind of help us navigate this process?
So, mentoring is very important to me because I know if I would not have found a mentor when I was undergrad here, I would not be who I am today. And the way I explain mentoring to students is think about it like a plane. And we're going to apply plane to your life. The purpose of getting on a plane is to go to a destination. As a college student or a future college student, the destination for you would be graduation, your career, your future family if you desire your future family. You are in control. So we're going to call you the pilot. You're the pilot of your own life, and ultimately you are responsible for getting to your destination. But if you're in a plane, when you notice get rocky or shaky, that's called turbulence. Turbulence is what? Could be what in college? Procrastination, BSing, unexpected life, things happening that are out of your control. But at the end of the day, you're on a journey, and the journey is to get to the destination. And no matter how rocky or shaky it gets, you are ultimately in control. But if you notice anything about the plane, and as the pilot, who sits next to the pilot? The co-pilot. What is the co-pilot's responsibility? To not take control, but to help take some of the burden off. To not take control, but to offer perspective and guidance so the pilot can get to the destination. So that's how I would describe mentoring. Think about who could be your co-pilot. So as you're on your life journey, and you're trying to get to your destination, who do you have on this journey that is sitting next to you that can offer you that perspective and guidance, that can be that resource to be there for you? Because ultimately you are in control. You are in control. No matter what happens in life, every success and failure is based off of your choices and your actions. And so you have to choose to understand who can I have to be my co-pilot to help me this life called journey, utilize them to help you. And no matter how rocky or shaky the journey is, you will get to that destination. I hope that made sense.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also add, I like your plane analogy. I have a little analogy too. I feel like when you are a college student, you are a seed in a pot of soil. And when you think about a plant, a lot of people will walk past a plant and look at it. A lot of people will walk past a plant and take a picture of it or take a picture with it. A lot of people will stare at a plant and admire it. But as a seed, you cannot pour water into yourself. As a seed, you are planted in the soil, you are planted in your roots are there, but you cannot physically pour into yourself. So when I think about mentorship, who is pouring into me? Who is allowing my seed to blossom and my roots to plant and my stems to grow and my fruits to bear? Who is doing those things on the college campus? And those are the people you cling to. It's those people who are like, look, you need to get your stuff together. Like, you need to stop doing X, Y, Z in the residence hall, and you need to go and get help and do these things. Those people who shower you with tough love, because tough love to me and feedback, that is real love. So who is pouring into you? Stay away from the people who are just admiring you or doing their job and using you as a checkbox, because those are the people who are just here to watch and admire you. Like I said, when you see a plant, you might take a picture with it, you might stare at it, but who is pouring into you? Who is taking that gallon of water and pouring into your plant so that you can grow and blossom? Those are the people you cling to. And it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody in high power. It could be somebody who's a peer. It could be somebody who manages the cafeteria. It could be somebody who manages the residence hall. It could be anybody. But whoever is pouring into you and pouring into you genuinely and intentionally, those are the people who become your mentors. And in terms of how you do that, I remember there was a faculty member at my campus, Dr. Young, who will always say, "Good morning, Black brother, you look nice today." And all of those things, he told me those things when I didn't feel it myself. Like, I didn't feel like I looked nice. I didn't feel like I was capable of. All that whole time he was pouring into my seed. He wasn't admiring me. He wasn't taking pictures of me. He wasn't just looking at me, but he was pouring into me. And I asked him, I was like, "Dr. Young, you make me feel like the person who I want to be. You make me feel like I could keep going. I would love for you to be my mentor. You're like a big brother to me." In that conversation, nobody's going to say no to you. Like, I can't think of anybody who's gonna say, "No, I will not be your mentor. No, I will not help you." If they are, they don't need to be working at a college campus, because that is what we are here to do. So just asking. It comes back to what Mr. Williams said about there's no growth in comfort. Get out of your comfort zone. Ask, can you be my mentor? I need help navigating this thing called life. I need help navigating this thing called college, because we cannot do it alone. It truly takes a village, and it also takes a table. So I always ponder on who is at my table. who's sitting at my table with me, who is really helping me achieve the goals that I want to achieve, live the life that I want to live, who's at my table. So when you get to college, you have to build your table. Your table will be filled with peers, it'll be filled with colleagues, it'll be filled with mentors, but you need to be very intentional with who has a seat at your table, because whoever has a seat at your table, they need to be pouring into your seed.
Sorry about that. I just texted my dad and my brother that quote. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Both of y'all are just full of wisdom today. This is awesome. Mr. Stanfield, you've also had some great nuggets of wisdom, especially as a current student. Do you have anything to add to the mentorship piece before we move on to another topic?
Yes, I'll say, the idea of mentorship and finding a mentor is something that, was big for me, just coming in as a first year. I really wanted to see what I could do to, challenge myself to get to the next level in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and even just as a person in myself. And, that was, the purpose of, finding a mentor, someone to challenge you to be a better version of you in all ways. And it's not necessarily something that, for me, that I'll say that you have to explicitly ask for, that route definitely does work. And Isaiah, you had like the perfect, opportunity to, have a conversation with someone that's, doing something, empowering you. And you're like, yeah, can you be my mentor? Which is a great route to go. For me, I have my mentor. One of them is on the call right now, Mr. Williams, who, is my SGA advisor. So he's someone that has seen me, at my best and at my lowest, and someone that, I might necessarily, not necessarily have the same feel academically, but whenever there's a time, I need to call someone, I need to speak about any ideas, I don't know which route to take in terms of life, he's the first call that I make. So, just being able to have somebody that's there for you in that area. And then it's definitely okay to have more than one people that you consider as a mentor, and someone that, this is someone that I know that they're, well-versed in ideas of life and how that works. So whenever I have issues with life or I want to talk about life, I'm going to dial this number. There's someone in my field that's doing something very exciting that I would like to do in the future. Whenever I have questions about the career path that I'm going to take, I'm going to dial this number. And then there's just, other people that are just, there to have those types of conversations that will, give you tough love when you need to have a difficult conversation, or tell you, hey, I see what you're doing. You can do a lot better than that. And there are people that can have those types of conversations with you. So, the idea of community, having, people, like I said, around at your table is big, and it challenges you to be a better version of yourself. Whenever there's opportunity to be held accountable, whether that be held accountable for doing something great or held accountable for doing something not so good, that's all necessary in anyone's growth. So just being able to have those people in place that aren't afraid to, give that unbiased, that support in a way that, might be tough love, or, just love in itself, that's very necessary. And I think, something that everyone should have.
Absolutely. To be such a young man, you're full of wisdom, Mr. Stanfield. I see why you are the student body president, because you got leadership written all over you. I love that you talked about, all three of you have touched on the fact that this is a journey and we're all trying to get to a specific destination. But I think sometimes we start college not necessarily knowing what our destination is going to be, but we know we want to start the journey. So my next question for you all, and this is my second to last question. So if anybody in the chat or anybody on the call has any questions they'd like to ask the panel, feel free to put those in the chat. But as we're on this journey in college, how do we know when we figured out what we really want to do or what our passion is, so that we know what our destination is going to be? When do we find that out? What does that look like? And how do we utilize our community to help us get there?
So for me, when I came to college, my focus was on making money and choosing a major that's going to get me the money the fastest. So I chose political science because I thought I wanted to be an attorney. Clearly that ain't happened. But what I realized, what helped me really understand my passion and why I'm in higher ed today, is because once I got involved on campus, and I was heavily involved with student government, student activities, student leadership stuff. And I'm going into my second semester junior year, and I'm like, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be an attorney. But if I change my major at this point, I'll be here extra years. And I was like, I ain't trying to do that. So what do? That's when I found my mentor. And my mentor really helped me get clarity in what I was trying to figure out about life and what I wanted life to look like after I walk across that stage. And so in the conversation, we talked about life and what I enjoy doing. And what I realized is like, if I'm not in the classroom, I'm in the student leadership office. I'm in the student activities office. If I could get paid doing this every day, I would love to be doing this. And that's my mentor helped me understand, well, you can do this. Yes, your major is political science, and at this point, it doesn't make sense changing it, but you can still go into higher ed. You just have to go get that master's, depending on what you want to do in higher ed. I'm like, more school. I don't know about that. But then the conversation was, if this is what you're saying that you want to do, then there are certain things that you have to do to make that become a reality. And this is one of those steps. And so for me, what helped me really understand that was, one, I got involved on campus. I got out my comfort zone and realized that I needed to get involved. And me getting involved and experiencing different things really helped hone in what it is that I enjoy doing, what I'm passionate about, what I would like to make money doing every day if it was up to me. And then having that mentor to help me get clarity for myself and help me understand the path I need to take to get there. That's what helped me get to the point where I am now as far as my career.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody else want to add to that before we close out with our final question? It seems like you hit the nail on the head, Mr. Williams. Absolutely. Like, definitely utilizing your resources to help you navigate this and affirming you. And when you find your passion seems to be the answer to the big question of how do I find my passion is really kind of allowing others to help lead you there. So thank you for that. My last and final question for you all is something that I ask everyone because we work with students all the time. And I know for myself in working with students, there are a lot of things I wish I would have known when I was their age. So we will close out by asking each of our panelists, if you could give your 17-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be? And feel free to jump in whenever you have that answer in your head.
So I would say the advice I would give myself is life is going to work itself out. Trust the process. Stay true to yourself and just trust the process. And also I would add to that is to understand the older you is counting on you to make the best decisions now. At 18, 17, 19-year-old, you have to think about what type of life is a 21-year-old Kent, the 25-year-old Kent, 30-year-old Kent going to be able to live because of the choices and the actions of the 17, 18, 19-year-old. So that would be my final piece of advice to any college student, any high school student. Always remember, the older you is counting on you to make the best decisions now and to find that co-pilot to help you with this thing called life. And trust that at the end of the day, you will always end up where you're supposed to be.
Wow. Yeah, I just texted that one to my dad as well. So thank you for that. Mr. Stampo or Mr. Lucas, what advice would you give your 17-year-old selves?
I would say, go ahead, Derek.
So for me, one thing that was big for me to learn, and look, I'm not too far removed from 17, so I wish I could add something in about your 20-year-old self as well. But definitely in terms of failure, a quote that a friend of mine said yesterday, I don't know who they got it from, but they said, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. So for me, as a 17-year-old, and something that I believe a lot of us face, just as a result of, how the world is these days, it's just, being afraid to fail and how that pushes you to, not challenge yourself in ways that you would, just if failure wasn't an option. So growing up, I didn't pursue some opportunities, or I didn't, apply myself in different ways because, I didn't want to be that person that, gave it their all, ended up still, falling short of whatever goal that I set for myself. As I came to North Carolina Central, that was one of the things that I said that I was no longer going to do. So in terms of, hopping out, running for freshman class president, there was no doubt in my mind that, oh yeah, this race is in the bag. I never had that thought. I, just knew that whatever I was running on, my passion for the student body and the plans that I had, I was passionate, and I believe that I advocated that to the student body to the best of my ability. And I left it all, up in the air, and I really put my best foot forward. So I would encourage, my 17-year-old self to continue to, or, push yourself to put your best foot forward. If you fail, take it on the chin and keep pushing. It just gives you an opportunity for growth in other areas. So really, not being afraid to fail or lose, and, really pushing yourself and challenging yourself to see how far, that might take you.
Great piece of advice. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Stanfield. Last but not least, Mr. Lucas.
Yeah, if I could talk to my 17-year-old self, I would have a really, really rough conversation with my 17-year-old self. I'm talking like lay him out. Because I think that I spent my 17, 16, and 18-year-olds trying to fit in. I spent those years of my life really trying to fit in. Whatever my friends was doing, I felt like I had to do it. If my friends was smoking, I felt like I had to smoke. If my friends was going out, I had to go out. If my friends was cheating on their girlfriends, I felt like I had to do the same thing. But it became a moment in time where I was like, I have to dare to be different. And I had to really live the life that I knew I wanted to live. And it was really me saying, look, I can't do what everybody else around me is doing. I appreciate y'all for being my friends in my community, but we are all going on two different paths. And really recognizing that and naming that and saying, you know what, this is not what I'm interested in. Be okay with being the only one at the lunch table, because I remember not being interested in sports, not being interested in talking about some of the things that people in high school was talking about. I was always trying to figure out who the mayor was, who was the police chief, what NAACP event could I go to. I was always that person, and I found myself being alone. And that was okay, because it was in those alone years that I found who I was, whose I was, and which contributions I wanted to make to society. So be okay with being alone and dare to be different.
Wow, so much great advice today. I cannot wait to share this out with all of our community partners, with our high school partners, with our college partners, so that they can share this to as many students as possible, because you all have shared some amazing pieces of knowledge today. And from what I got from this is making connections leads you into your destiny. So trust the process, trust others around you. Make sure that you are allowing others to pour into you, because as Mr. Lucas said, you cannot grow, a seed cannot water itself. So thank you all for being beacons of light on your respective campuses. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us this morning. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your passion. It's infectious. So thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to close out, but please know that this recording will be sent out to all who registered, and it will be posted on the CFNC YouTube page for future viewing. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you to our CFNC representatives on the call today. We hope everyone has a great day and they take these pieces of knowledge and with them and use it to be their best selves. So have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you again for joining us. Oh, and before I stop recording, I just want everybody to know that we will be doing another installment, our last installment of our Representation Matters series on planning for careers in college while you're in high school. That will be on April 26th at 6 o'clock, and you can sign up for that on cfnc.org/events. Thank you again. I hope everybody has a fantastic day.